Hello and welcome to Two Across, the podcast where two friends sitting on opposite sides of the Atlantic sit down and catch up over a crossword. I'm Rob Cole in Montreal, Canada.
And I'm Theo Bosanquet in London. And that was a full name intro, I think, for the first time in about 10 episodes. So, yeah, be a bit
Remind
formal.
the listeners, that we have double barrel names, first and last.
Well, not quite yet. Is that double barreling? That's just name, isn't it?
No, double barrel would be like St. John Smythe or something like that.
Yeah, with a surname like mine, I definitely don't want to be double barreling. I think you could possibly tack another one on there if
I could do it
if the need arose.
People hear double barrel in Quebec, it's very done because people don't get married. In fact, I mean, on the level of women equality, Quebec is pretty top of the tables. You're not legally allowed to change your last name when you marry. So my wife doesn't have my last name, and nor would she either way. That's not her thing. But you were not allowed to, even if she had wanted to. So what a lot of people do, because they don't tend to marry in Quebec, they tend to live in a sort of common law arrangement where they call themselves boyfriend and girlfriend, basically, but they'll have kids and mortgages and all those things. But the one thing they do is double barrel last names. So the kids will have both last names.
Wow.
So that's very common here in Quebec of a certain generation. I think the generation maybe just before I was raising my kids, it became very common. So
I didn't know that. So what do the kids do of those kids? If you've got two parents with each with double-barreled names, do you just pick one?
I think they're just reaching that point now where that generation that had the double-barreled names is now coming into marrying age or to coupling age, and they are probably making that decision. I would imagine they'd probably do it the way the Spanish do it, where they do use both the mother and father's last name, but then they drop the maternal last name, I believe, upon marriage. Well, I think as the individual keeps it, but they don't pass it on to their kids, I think.
Okay. Which sort of undoes the point of the law in the first place, possibly.
Well, it delays it, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah. It is a problem. I mean, it's one of these things that in our contemporary society, I don't think we've really got to grips with, is what to do about that issue of naming. Although here the precedent is still that a wife will take her husband's surname, it's also obviously increasingly not happening, and we haven't really come up with a suitable alternative. We could do it, I suppose, Scandi style, where you kind of tack son on the end. Or
Dóttir in Iceland, if you're...
Or Dóttir, yes. Or you could combine names into a new name, which I quite like, because it gives each generation the chance to kind of start afresh. But either way, it seems to be down to individual preference at the moment, which is probably how it should be anyway. But we're certainly... Yeah, it's an interesting one. I didn't realise it was against the law in Canada to take your husband's surname.
In Quebec.
Oh, in Quebec. Sorry, in Quebec specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quebec is a distinct society, and they fought a long time to have that distinction, and they are distinct and do things in their own way.
Apologies to all our Quebec-based listeners. I didn't mean to slight you. So, shall I do some updates from last week? Because
yes, let's have those.
You did some good pins in last week's episode. So this week, I've taken it upon myself to go through them in, some would say, too much detail. But nevertheless, I felt our listeners would want to know some of these points from last week.
They've been on tenterhooks.
Tenterhooks indeed. So I'm going to go through them, if you'll allow me, Rob. Starting with, so firstly, one of the clues was to do with a mnemonic, or the answer was mnemonic. I can't remember. I think the example was every good boy deserves favour, which is the notes on the treble clef. And I also spoke about the planetary mnemonic, which I did research in full. And the full thing is my very easy method just speeds up naming planets. Although, of course, that last word is now no longer applicable, so you'd have to change it.
Just speeds up naming.
Just speeds up naming, yeah. Anyway, the etymology of mnemonic, which we had speculated about, is actually from the Greek mnemon, which means mindful, which I quite like, you know. So you're mindful of the order of a particular thing.
And I'm going to pin that point for when we're done the updates.
Okay. It's like a
pin on a pin.
Pin on a pin, wow. This is getting complicated. Secondly, rule plugs. We also wondered about the etymology of raw plugs, why they're so called, and turns out it's because they were invented by a company called Rawlings Brothers, which was a small plumbing and electrical engineering company founded in 1887 in London. And then in 1910, the company was awarded a contract by the British Museum, which required them to unobtrusively fix electrical fittings to the museum walls. I may be reading from Wikipedia right now. The contract led to the invention and patenting of the world's first wall plug, which became a standard solution for attaching things to walls. So there you go.
As I said in the last episode, we call it a drywall anchor. So it just is a very utilitarian name.
There
it
you
doesn't
go.
have this lovely whimsical name that refers to the original creators.
Little bit of DIY history for you there, listeners.
Yeah.
Next up, I told an anecdote about, so one of the clues was the one and only, which gave rise to a brief chat about Chesney Hawkes, the one-hit wonder pop star from the 1980s, and I spoke about him potentially losing the rights to perform his own song, which turns out is, surprise, surprise, not true, because you can't really give up the rights to perform a song, but he has never owned the song in the first place because it was actually written by fellow 80s pop star Nick Kershaw.
Oh. Was he the first to perform it?
No, Nick Kershaw never performed it. Apparently what happened was Nick Kershaw realised his star was on the wane, and he wrote this song for the younger, more glamorous Chesney, and didn't think any more of it, but then suddenly this song became a massive hit, to the point where Nick Kershaw now says it probably actually ruined Chesney Hawkes' career because he could never follow up its success. And so Nick Kershaw's been coining in the royalties for years, while poor old Chesney is left performing in student unions, as per my anecdote, or cruise ships and the like. So there you go. There's also a nice little fact about that song, which it spent, wait for this, more than 12 consecutive years in the Chinese charts.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
So was that like the one song that the Chinese Communist Party felt was completely anodyne, no chance of fomenting revolution or whatever, and they let it in, and people just went nuts? It was like the one pair of blue jeans in the Soviet Union or something.
Yes, or like the mysterious popularity of Norman wisdom in Albania. Yes, I think it was probably the only, one of the few songs that was allowed, because it's, as you say, completely anodyne and doesn't really have any kind of political message. And don't know, but either way, clearly popular with the Chinese public. I mean, 12 years, that's just mind-boggling.
That's staying power. That's even better than our friend Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
There was a similar piece of Canadian culture that got picked up of, in all places, Iran. But apparently the show Road to Avonlea, which you've probably never seen it, but it was a follow-on spin-off of the Anne of Green Gables universe, and it depicted sort of a young girl and family growing up in rural Prince Edward Island in the 19th century, which was, of course, a very traditional society. Women would often wear some form of head covering, and they wore very modest, full arm length and neck length dresses. And the theocracy in Iran, in the sort of zeros, felt this was very acceptable Western viewing. And so Road to Avonlea became this sort of big Western hit in Iran, of all places.
There you go. Yeah. And whenever it stars, well, not sure if they often visited Iran, but if they ever did, no doubt they were mobbed.
Maybe they did. You know, it's like David Hasselhoff in Germany.
Good point.
He's like, all right, I've got to go and do most of my career now in Germany. Like, just do commercials and sort of variety show appearances.
Yeah. If I was famous in one particular country, no matter what it was, even if it was like North Korea, I would make it a point to get there and just bask in that fame every so often. You know? What an ego trip that would be.
Incredible.
Yeah, there you go.
My band, this a virtue to the global reach of Spotify, my band, previous to this one, we had a song get picked up on a whole bunch of playlists in Taiwan for some reason, and I never understood why. But all these like Coffee House Taiwan and whatever picked this song up. And so we had this brief period where the amount of streams in Taiwan dwarfed streams anywhere else in the world by several orders of magnitude. And we're thinking, like, if this keeps going, we're going to have to go to Taiwan and just sort of show up. And we would fantasize about what would happen when we would land in Taiwan and get off, walk down the steps from the plane.
Like Beatlemania.
Yeah. I think the truth would have been somewhat less impressive, but it was a nice fantasy.
Oh, what a lovely thought. We'll get there soon before it all kicks off.
Yeah.
Okay, two more things. Actually, three more things, but one of them is a correction. So two more pins. One is Columbo's first name, which I was unable to conjure, is Frank, which is brilliantly normal. Just Frank Columbo.
It's about as basic a name as one could summon, I think. Frank.
It pretty much is, isn't it? It's like, oh, Bill Columbo. What a great detective. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Pinkerton, incidentally connected to that, is a character in the Puccini opera Madame Butterfly, which I'm to my shame. I should have known that, but I have never seen it, so I didn't know that. But he is obviously also a lieutenant. And then the final thing is just to mention, at the very end of the show, we had a brief chat about Marvel and Batman versus Jesus, and it turns out, having had that discussion, that actually Batman is not a Marvel character. He's a DC Comics character, which is the other superhero stable. So thought it was important to clear that one up for any particularly nerdy listeners out there who were frothing at my suggestion that Batman was a Marvel character.
They are no longer listeners, Theo.
Anyway, I've probably taken up enough time. Well, I've definitely taken up enough time rambling on about pins. So let's swiftly get to this week's Mission Impossible.
Fair enough. And I'll save my pin on a pin for after the crossword, because we should try and get through these. And a little reflection before we get into the crossword is I've done a few of these in the last week. I think I did this whole week of Guardian Quick Crosswords. And they're really hard all of a sudden. Not just to the opposite of toot our horn, play our lament maybe would be the best thing to say, but I don't want to play our lament. However, they are quite difficult these days. I don't know what it is and why that's the case, but...
Well, what's the team? What's Patrick Mahomes' team that just lost?
Oh, the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, that was it. I should know that because I did watch it, or at least I watched the first half. But anyway, we are the crosswording Chiefs. And... having
previously dominant and now a laughing stock.
Any chance of a three-peat is well and truly out the window.
And I'll put a Super Bowl pin in as well for the end. So I'm throwing pins all over the place today.
All right, let's do it, Rob.
Let's go to the crossword, because crossing words is fun.
So we are doing Guardian Quick Crossword 17,087. Let us hope today that the now very tough setter has gone off on vacation and an understudy who has come in who is gentler and doesn't use words I've never heard of before. Not that I'm bitter. So as always, every single week, we have 1/2 of an Earth hour to complete this crossword. It is managed on a nuclear clock that Theo has in his basement. It is the size of a mainframe computer and is calibrated to a pulsar somewhere in the Andromeda cluster. We do this sight unseen. We've never seen any of these clues before. We have never seen this crossword before. We are going to pit our combined intelligence against this crossword, and yay, we may succeed today. I think we are going to succeed today. So please feel free to play along. I'm doing it. Go to the show notes and click on the link, and you can play along with us at home. Okay, Theo, start us off.
One down. It's stop the car 4-4.
Stop the car 4-4.
Whoa. What is that?
I have no idea.
Stop the car!
Yeah, something like that, like you're about to hurl or some... pull over.
Pull over. Lovely. Could you pull over, please?
Pull over there, Mac.
Mac. Pull over, Frank. Oh, it's Frank. Don't worry, guys. It's just Frank.
I know this guy. Don't worry about it. And okay, so that gives us a P is the first letter of Cornish lizard, for instance. Please, Theo, tell us you know the Cornish lizard.
So Cornish lizard. Lizard is capital L. So this is gonna be some colloquialism, isn't it? That like a Cornish lizard is actually a cat or something. Anyway, it's 9 letters beginning with P. Assuming pullover is correct. I don't know, Rob. I've never heard of a Cornish lizard.
Was Eddie Izzard the Cornish lizard? just, just throwing that in there.
I don't think so.
All right.
Who knows? Cornish lizard, for instance, that implies
It could be a product, like a beer or...
Yeah, it could be a product, or it could be a way of saying something. It could be a rhyme. It could be... Oh, no.
Okay, here's one, Theo, for you that I think is very apropos. 10 across, drugs taken to boost muscle mass, because I know you were big into these at one point.
Yeah, big into my my workouts.
Your anabolic products.
Yeah, for any listeners, obviously you can't see me, which is all of our listeners because we don't do a video. But you just have to imagine me in my vest here with my absolutely rippling upper body. It's quite intimidating, I think, actually, for Rob. He'd never admit to it, but
that's why I tend to turn the video off. I don't tell Theo that.
Yeah. I have that effect on people. So drugs taken to boost muscle mass. I only know about protein shakes. Could that be?
I'm thinking of the sort of thing that the East Germans were known for in their heyday.
Steroids. Now, I do know about those because, not because I take...
Now, where's this going?
It's all coming out. No, so my wife, Kate, is a massive fan of cycling. And so we watch a lot of sort of cycling-related documentaries, including very recently. And this is a sign of my love that I sat through a 4-part documentary in German about the disgraced cyclist Jan Ullrich, who won the Tour de France in the 90s just before Lance Armstrong came in and took even more drugs than him and then won more.
Isn't disgraced an epithet that is attached to any former champion cyclist in the last 40 years?
To me, the sport of cycling is now completely compromised to the point of pointlessness. I mean, either they have to just say, okay, take as many drugs as you like and let's just level the playing field, or they have to just accept that the entire game is up, cancel every single title that has previously been awarded and start the whole thing again. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's quite an interesting documentary, actually, to be fair. I think it was on Amazon, maybe. Okay. And he had a very troubled relationship with his father, who... it's a very sad story. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it now, Rob, because we haven't got time. Watch it for yourself, all 4 parts. Right.
Let's take that D and make hay with it. 2 down.
Let's do that, Rob.
Is 6 letters long, and Jan Ullrich was certainly not not a single person. D is the penultimate letter, and it's 6 letters long.
Have you got a guess for that?
Nobody.
That's very good, because I was thinking someone who's not single, as in a spouse or somebody like that. But yeah, nobody. That's nice. Well done. Yeah. So Cornish lizard now has a 3rd letter of N. P-E-N.
The Cornish lizard.
Is it like a punishment?
Oh, Pendragon? Like Uther Pendragon?
I mean, sure. Why not?
Because didn't... I mean, Arthur and all that, I mean, a lot of that happened in Cornwall, didn't it? Tintagel and all these places. And
I believe
Uther Pendragon, was not that Arthur's father?
Sure. I'm obviously not as knowledgeable of Cornish mythology as you are, so I think that sounds right to me.
Well, I have family in Cornwall, oddly enough.
Do you?
I do. I have cousins down in Cornwall.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
So that does give us a few... We can test it. Let's test it with, Rob, a lovely, juicy anagram. 5 down. It's yes man libels.
Yeah.
Is the anagram. And the clue is means of mass production.
And it's not Pendragon, sadly. All of my stuff is ruined because I believe it is assembly line.
Rob, what a shame.
I felt I wove something, believable out of that, but I believe it's an assembly line.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to go back to square one on Cornish lizard.
Yes.
Which could well be our ersatz this week.
Yes, or our propitiate.
Indeed. Still shuddering at the mention of those words.
Oh, I know.
Right.
All right, let's take low-hanging fruit for now. Swarm with life, 11 across. So following on from steroids, it is the next one across. It ends in M and it is 4 letters long. To swarm with life.
It's not low-hanging for me.
Like a coral reef would swarm with life in this way. Or you would think something with a lot of insects. You know, like the
Just tell me,
forest
Rob.
floor of the Amazon. To team.
Oh, team. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
with a double E, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I always feel like a pupil when you do that, like the teacher's doing his best to tell me what the answer is, and I'm just fumbling around in the dark.
Leading you in Latin. Amo, amat.
Yeah. Feeling ever more stupid with each clue that you lob to me. Anyway.
Look lively, Theo.
Come on, boy, you can do it.
I think I am putting off a school marmish vibe with that. I'll have to stop doing that.
No, it's fine. I like the way you tease not just me, but our listeners with your knowledge. I think that's a lovely way to use knowledge. To patronize other people.
Yes, I was going to say.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What point?
It's like smoke him if you got him. Like if you can patronize people.
Oh,
why,
believe you me.
Why wouldn't you?
Next time I get something, I'm going to do the same to you, and we're going to see how that goes. But then you'll get it straight away, so it will be completely
Watch me
undermined.
squirm like a Pendragon.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? What is that Cornish lizard?
Let's not get lost in the Cornish lizard.
Let's keep moving.
Many have died in his clutches.
Well, we're not doing well. We've got
Okay.
20 minutes left, so we're
All
a third
right.
of the way through, and we are definitely not a third of the way through the crossword, so we really need to start motoring.
Okay, 16 across. Run this way to go berserk. It is 4 letters long. We have no letters. So you run this way to go berserk. And apparently this word, the origin is Indonesian or something like that. It's a good word.
You're doing it again, Rob.
Or
Go
maybe
on, just tell us.
Filipino. To run amok.
A mock. Yes, of
And
course.
And it is also the title of an excellent classic Star Trek episode called Amok Time, where Spock gets the pung far and he becomes all of a sudden needy of a mate, and all logic is thrown out the window in this sort of blood boiling lust. It's quite something for those
Rob's
who are
doing
not...
Star Trek again.
Yeah.
Whenever you start talking about Star Trek, it's a bit to me like listening to the commentators at the Super Bowl. Talking about all these words that just mean absolutely nothing to me.
He was trying to run a button hook around the tight end, and then he looped back and completely tripped up the cornerback and got a 1st and 20.
Yeah. And everybody sees it. It's like they're taking part in some weird religious ritual that I have no idea what's going on, and they sort of move around the pitch like they all know what's happening.
Oh,
And
I
I
know.
just the whole thing is completely impenetrable to me, but it doesn't stop me watching it year in, year out.
Yeah.
Right.
21
7
across.
down.
Oh, 7 down.
Okay.
Let's have
Yeah.
it.
Sorry.
Well,
if you know 21 across, let's
I
go for it.
might. It's knocked off the top spot. Again, back to your cycling analogy.
Yeah.
This year's druggie is knocked off by next year's druggie. So it's 21 across, 9 letters long, knocked off the top spot. And I think...
I would guess something like deposed.
Yeah.
But that's
very
not long
similar.
enough.
Would relate to a monarch, for instance. Very
Yeah.
much to a monarch because it relates to the thing they sit on.
Dethroned.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. The Pendragon was dethroned from...
Yes,
The
from our
Cornish.
crossword by the assembly line.
We really need to get this.
Oh, we do. 15 down. It may detain one. Last letter N, 6 letters long. Detain in terms of detention, I would say, probably.
So, I don't know. What?
Prison?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's... I mean, it ends in the right letter, so let's get it in.
All right. Okay, throw it somewhere else, Theo.
Okay. Oh, one that I can get. 20 across. Song
Yes.
of Praise, ending in N, and it's a 5-letter word.
Does it start with P? No?
Sad? No.
Okay, what is it?
It's the other one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you not know?
No, I don't. I don't, Theo. Can you give me some patronizing clues?
Oh, God, no, I don't know, Rob, because it's not long enough.
Oh, no.
I can't patronize you. It's not him, because that was my guess.
No, it does not fit. I was thinking, isn't there something like a paean? like a paean, or I've never heard it spoken, but I've seen it written. It's like Pae something N. It's like 3 vowels smashed together.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
P
It's vaguely familiar.
A N.
Paeon.
Yeah.
Paeon. Yeah,
Like paella.
pencil it.
Okay, Paean.
The paella of religious songs.
Okay, well,
yeah, I
just
think
throw it
you're
in
right.
for now.
Yeah. I think that does sound about right.
Okay.
17 across, shocking. Second letter R, ending in L.
8 letters long. Shocking.
No, I can't think of anything that ends in L.
No, this one's frustrating. Shocking.
Okay, let's move on.
Well, dreadful.
Yeah, I suppose that does mean shocking.
Yeah, like I've just had some dreadful news.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where next?
You throw us somewhere.
Okay. So 18 down.
Yeah.
4 letters ending in R, and it's window, admiral, or guard.
Yes.
And I think I know it.
A Hitchcock movie, a military rank, and a military position in a attack.
Yeah.
I think
It's rear.
Rear Window. I said that I'd done a film course on Hitchcock in uni.
Yeah.
Studied Rear Window quite closely.
As did I. I think we've had the Hitchcock.
We have. We shouldn't repeat. This is what's happening. We're becoming like an old couple, Theo.
I know we are.
Repeat our stories,
and then in the end, the podcast will just be us sitting in silence with nothing left to say.
Yeah. It'll just be something that someone will go. Oh,
yeah. Lovely weather we're having.
Well, we are pushing 50, Theo.
We are. This is in our stars, Rob.
It is in our stars. We got 12 down, Theo, which is up and left. It is 8 letters long. It is 3 spaces and then an A, space P, space D. Up and left.
So it can't be departed.
It can't be departed.
It could be if peon is wrong.
It could be if peon is wrong, but I think there is a word that fits.
Yeah.
Which would maintain my peon. For some reason,
Okay.
I want to hold on to that one.
No, go on. What's your alternative?
Decamped.
Oh yeah, because I suppose up and left implies
like
you
up
strike
sticks.
a camp.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I'm worried about, by the way, the spelling of peon, which we didn't really clarify, and it's your crossword of record this week.
Okay, I put it AEAN.
Oh, I threw an O in there.
I was debating, but then I thought I was thinking peon. Like
Yeah.
the.
It sounds like it's related to piety, doesn't it?
Yes.
But if it is, that might be an E as the second letter. But anyway, let's.
Oh no,
not...
it is. I think it is an E as the second letter. PAEAN. That's definitely a pinnable word too, because if it is actually that. Anyway, let's see. I think I've just seen this in crosswords before, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I think I had to look it up.
So you're going with PAEAN.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Where do you want to go now? What about 14 across?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was looking at 14 across, protein-rich seed. They love a bit of protein this week.
They do.
Actually, they don't, because steroids are not protein. That's an incorrect.
But they help your body make nice beefy protein.
Just ask Jan Ulrich.
Yeah.
Protein-rich seed is second letter E, last letter L, and it's 6 letters long. Is that something like, what's that thing? It obviously can't be flaxen, but or linseed.
But could it just be like seed in general, like a synonym for seed? For instance, kernel.
Yeah, oh yeah, nice. Oh, Rob.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. Although my phone's just frozen, so I can't type it in. But no,
Okay, well,
it's okay. It's okay. We're back in.
Okay,
We're back in. 4 down is interesting. Anonymous, 12 letters. 5th letter E, 7th letter N, 9th letter F, and penultimate letter E. Anonymous.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
You'd think we'd have enough letters now that this would be very doable, and yet Our Cornish dragon has come back to smite us because
Yeah.
they are depriving us of a first letter.
I want to say like in flagranti or something like that,
wow.
you know, quite a sort of,
Yeah.
it's going to be quite a decadent word for
I think it surely is at this length.
being incognito, which is not long enough.
No.
Undercover doesn't fit.
No. I mean, dreadful could be wrong, but
No, but undercover
doesn't-
doesn't fit
doesn't
anyway.
what about his or her turn will surely come? This would give us one of the letters. 9 across, starts with B, ends in S, 7 letters long.
His or her turn will surely come.
Yeah.
So it's like a, you know, an heir to something, or
Or like good things come to those who wait, but
no. Let's try and get a couple of one of the two downs. Oh no, we can't get the anonymous one, obviously, but we could try and get practically 4 letters.
yeah.
Practically.
Could it be near or something?
So
like,
yeah, like on the verge of. So let's
Hey.
try, yeah.
could Cornish lizard be peninsula if that was near?
Yes, it could be. It definitely could be, because that is a thing. I'm sure it is. Yeah, definitely. That's a great get, Rob. Cornish lizard is definitely a peninsula. Yes.
Okay.
And
All right.
I've possibly even been there, so there's no excuse for
You've
me
stood
not getting that.
upon the Cornish lizard. I may have as well, unbeknownst to me.
Oh, the Cornish lizard. It does sound also like a euphemism, doesn't it? But let's not get into that. We've got 4 down. So
No.
4 down. Anonymous now begins with
A U.
you. So it must be
Yeah.
Oh, what is it, Rob?
Oh my gosh. We have like every single letter.
And also 9 across, which is his, her turn will surely come. If near is correct, which I think it must be, is B blank A blank blank
Yeah.
blank S. Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. We're struggling. Why don't we go over to the left side, because we do have a lot of work there that's undone, and then we can
We
maybe
do,
come back
we
to
do.
that afresh.
Yeah. Okay. 8 across. 1 time humble pie ingredient. 5 letters ending in L. What's the ingredient of humble pie?
I have no idea.
That's something I've never considered in my life.
No.
It's surely only an expression. Is it even related to the expression? Is it just a humble pie ingredient?
Maybe. Maybe there is actually a foodstuff known as the humble pie.
Because obviously an eel, but
Mhm.
that would only fit if it had 4 E's. Which-
Yes.
So an eel,
Eel.
which is definitely not.
Probably not. What about domesticated?
And it's 5-7, penultimate letter of S in the first word, and a
Yeah.
final letter of D in the second word, and then A is the third letter of the second word. So domesticated would be, could it be house? Must be house.
Oh,
House trained. House trained.
Oh, Theo, that's great. This is long, and it's
Okay.
going to give us a lot of things. Nice work.
I got one.
You got a really good one. Ooh, and 13 across now is,
Yeah.
I was thinking it might be starting with a T, and you've put a T there, because sounded disapproving, 6 letters long, T first letter, penultimate letter of E. Could that
Sounded
be,
disproving.
could that be tutted?
Tutted. Yeah, it absolutely could be.
Tut?
It absolutely could be tutted. Okay, we've got 5 minutes, by the way.
Ooh,
7 down. It only occurs to 1 later.
I think I've got it, and I think I know what the humble pie ingredient is.
Oh, Rob. Oh, so do I, because it begins with O.
Yes,
So it's awful.
I think it's awful.
Also, it always makes you think of the Adrian Mole books, because he worked in a restaurant called Awfully Good.
Oh, God.
Anyway, no time to
Reflect on Adrian.
reflect on Adrian Mole, who I do adore. It only occurs to 1 later. 12 letters. This is 7 down. So
Yeah.
afterthought. I'm just going to say it because we haven't got time.
Yep. Nice, Theo.
So
You've
Okay,
made
there's a
this
couple of-
part of the crossword your personal demesne.
and then prized pieces of information, 19 across is
Yep.
N blank G blank E blank S. That's nuggets.
Yep, definitely
So
nuggets.
we've done the left-hand side.
Yep.
leaving us 2 clues to get. That was quick. So we've got 4 minutes to get 2 clues.
Okay.
9 across, his, her turn will surely come. B blank A blank 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 S. And 4 down, anonymous. U blank blank blank. I can't be bothered to go through all the letters, but there's a U, an E, an N, an F, and an E in there.
Yeah, yes, it's rather long.
U being the first letter. So do we want to just divide them up?
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like we should... No, let's focus on anonymous, because if we can get that, it's really going to blow the doors off. Right, 3.5 minutes left. Anonymous. So you, it must be
You would imagine, yeah.
on earth. And what could it end in? You're good at getting it. So the end is F blank E blank.
Yeah, probably R or D, I would say. Or it could, no, I say L, but no, I think it would probably be.
I think I've got it, Rob.
No.
I think it's unidentified.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Theo, this is amazing. Okay.
But doesn't quite fit with Colonel. I think it is it must be unidentified.
And it must be, and then Colonel's wrong.
But I think Colonel's wrong, because actually that was bothering me, because I don't... A kernel isn't really a seed, is it? So protein-rich seed, 6 across, is blank E blank T
I've
blank
got it.
L. Go on.
So you're right. It is a specific seed of a specific
just say it,
plant.
Rob. No time.
Lentil.
Lentil. Right. Okay. No time for your school mastery. 9 across. His, her turn will surely come. 7 letters. It's B blank A blank I blank S, and we've got 2 minutes to get it, and the entire success of our crossword rests on this.
His or her time will surely come.
Her turn. His or her turn will surely come. B blank A blank I blank S. Right. So what could it end in? I blank S.
I blank S. Could be an S. It could be a... It doesn't look right to me, though. Could be a... Could be R. Could be...
Oh, my God.
Okay, you start at the front.
Okay.
It could be an N. I mean, how does near spelt, by the way? Is it N-E-E?
No. N-E-A.
N-E-A, okay.
N-E-A-R. So 9 across. So B, so bra or blah, a blah.
His or her time will surely come.
Freaking heck, Rob. This is the 3rd week in a row it's come down to one word that we're going to inevitably end up making up, because we've got 40 seconds left.
But what if... Okay.
I-N-S... A turn will surely come. What does that refer to?
I have no idea.
Oh, God, this is so annoying. 15 seconds. B... Okay, I'm just making up a word. Just again.
Yeah. Buggin? Or no,
it's a Bratins.
Sure. Fine. Oh.
Bratins, and that is the timer.
My gosh, this is really frustrating.
Okay, I normally try to reduce the swears on two across, but I have to. Can I just say, fuck this?
Yeah.
Right? Because seriously, why... Okay, should we just... Let's just find out what it is, put ourselves out the misery, and just move on. Because... Oh, come off it.
What is it?
It's Buggins.
Buggins?
Which means nothing to me.
Nothing? What is Buggins?
I'm dredging up. When I was a kid, you would sometimes hear somebody say, oh, Buggins here, as a sort of colloquialism. It was like, oh, Buggins here, he knows. As a sort of like patronising thing referring to Buggins. What that word means in actuality, well, obviously it means his, her turn will surely come. Buggins.
Wow.
Come on, Rob.
But that does mean that we are wrong with near, because practically is N space G space, which must be nigh.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Okay, we had 2 wrong. And should we check pion?
Oh, yeah. Let's check that. Yeah.
But that was right. That was right. Well done.
Oh, man.
You just sang a little pion.
I did.
Celebration there. Right. Let's immediately just solve this pin. So, Buggins.
Yeah.
Buggins' turn is a British slang that refers to the practice of giving a position to someone by seniority or rotation instead of merit. Wow. It's often used in a humorous or disparaging way.
Right.
Buggins' turn. Buggins. There you go.
So you don't want to be Buggins, because that just means that
Buggins.
You're not getting it on merit.
Yeah, you're a sort of beneficiary of nepotism. Buggins. It's quite a good one to know, actually, and I'm glad that I do know the proper meaning of that now. But it doesn't make me feel any better about failing another crossword at the final hurdle, because we're now, dare I say it, I think we're now 11-6 down.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, this is becoming a Chiefs-esque mountain to climb.
It is becoming a Chiefs-esque mountain to climb.
We've thrown too many turnovers, I believe they're called.
Oh, man.
Or interceptions, was that it? Was he threw two interceptions?
He did, and there was a fumble as well.
And there was a fumble, a terrible fumble.
Turning the ball over.
And there was a sixer or something at one point.
They scored a touchdown. The first touchdown they scored, they tried to put in a 2-point conversion, which you go, as opposed to kicking it for the 1 extra point, you try to score another touchdown and get 2 points.
Right. Okay.
And because they just needed as many points as they can get. So they were just, another football expression, throwing Hail Marys.
Yes. And my favorite of all was the tush rush.
Yes. Yeah. The tush push.
Sorry, the tush push. That was it. The tush push, which just is all sorts of wrong.
Yeah.
But is very accurate description of what it was, which was lots of men pushing each other's tushes.
Correct. To get them over the line.
Over the line. So there you go. I think that's the Super Bowl dealt with, Rob.
Crosswords done. That was fun. Now let's have a chat.
I'd like to give a shout out to my good friend Tim Haltigan, who is a listener of the pod and to whose home we went yesterday for his annual day-long cooking. In fact, the preparation begins a day in advance of his multi-meat chili, which every year evolves into this thing of incredible beauty. It is a monster. This year, the specialty was the layering of the spices. So it was like a fine wine that would evolve on your tongue throughout the eating, and then the sort of after effect of the chili. It was quite something.
Amazing. Big shout out to Tim, and officially inviting myself round if I ever happen to be in Canada for the Super Bowl again, which I was once. 2 years ago. Yeah. And fell asleep, as is my tradition. That's my tradition. You and Tim have your multi-meat chili. I have mine of just falling asleep as soon as anything exciting happens. Yeah, I did make it to half-time this year, which I thought was...
Given that you're 5 hours ahead, that's pretty impressive, because I didn't even finish the game.
That was my tush-push.
Was Kate standing there behind you, just giving you a tush-push to keep you going? Don't give up, Theo.
I draw a veil over that one, Rob.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, Kate had long since abandoned me and gone to bed.
Yeah, you and your tush on the couch.
And every year we have the same conversation, which goes like this. I say, I'm going to stay up and watch the Super Bowl. And she says, you have no idea what is happening and no actual interest in the outcome. And I say, yeah, but I still want to watch it. Yeah. It's the event. It's the sense of occasion, all of that. And but I was too tired to sit through most of the event because I didn't see the halftime show. I didn't see the end. But I did see the first half, which felt like it was...
You saw the game. I mean, the game was
seismic.
over by the first half.
Okay.
So you're okay. You're ahead of the game.
Do you want to cover what was your pin on a pin?
I was just going to throw one on mnemonic because I love that idea of the sort of memos, I guess, is the root word, but just the minding or mindful. At some point, I did some research into memorization and sort of ancient techniques for memorization, because of course, being a memorist was a thing back in the day before, for instance, even widespread use of the written word. People had to be able to remember, for instance, long texts like Homer's Odyssey and Iliad. I mean, they were oral for a long time before they were written. And so there were people who faithfully recorded these long things in their brains. And in the ancient world, in Greece in particular, there were different techniques for how to do that. One of them apparently was that you sort of imagined in your mind a large building, a cathedral or something, and then you would store the pieces of information in different sort of parts of it, different naves or little chapels and stuff, and you would go and you would visualize yourself sort of lifting some stone, and underneath would be some more of the information that you needed. And so these were techniques. But I love that technique of being a memorist, which is a thing that is lost. In fact, we are losing our ability to even retain facts now because they're just a search away on our phone. So why keep them in your head? And I feel like that's going to be, as human society moves on and the devices get closer and closer to our brains, the actual merit of remembering something will fall away. And I find that, And there was sort of, apparently at some point when the written word took over, many people lamented the decline of memorism as an art because you didn't need it anymore.
It's so admirable. And I mean, the thought of anyone remembering something the length of Homer's Odyssey or Iliad is just mind-blowing. I have a friend, actually, speaking of that, who has recently taken on a translation of the Iliad.
Really?
And it's very, very impressive undertaking. And he was telling me that you notice when you go through the original just how much repetition there is of details of particular characters. These days you would say the exposition is quite repetitive. And the reason for that, of course, is that it's the oralist, the storyteller, prompting themselves, reminding themselves of who the person is, giving themselves a rhythm in which to speak. And so it's a completely different kind of style to written prose, where the aim of the game is to reduce repetition.
Yes.
You know, actually, with any kind of oral poetry, repetition is hugely important because it gives you, it anchors you where you are. Which is fascinating. And God, it is just so impressive that storytellers could do that. I would be hopeless at that job. I mean, even if I was living in those times and didn't have the distractions of a mobile phone, I still just have not got the kind of memory that can do that. I find doing these crosswords really helpful for memory and just as an exercise in forcing you to dredge up information from your subconscious that has probably gone unused for years. Suddenly a word like Buggins comes up. And
we had Grockle last season, and that sort of dug up some memory of your mum using the word Grockle and then trying to sort of figure out exactly what that.
And despite my bitterness at losing again this week, we have nevertheless uncovered another word that is potentially going to be it's not going to be useful. Let's not kid ourselves. We're probably never going to say Buggins again. But nevertheless,
we should
interesting. We should try. Rob, do you have any other points of business before we let our listeners off the hook?
Well, one thing we should say to our listeners before we let them off the hook is that we won't be here next week, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we are both otherwise occupied next week. Theo, you're going off on half term, and I am going to a meditation retreat for 5 days. So we will not be recording.
Amazing. Enjoy that, Rob.
Yeah. Where are you off to, Theo?
You'll be full of mnemos.
I will
during that. So we're going to France. We're going to Paris on the Eurostar, and then we're getting the TGV down to Annecy in the Alps, and then we're going to do a little bit of skiing. And when I say a little bit, I really mean a little bit, because the kids are very much beginners, and we can't be certain that they're going to enjoy the experience. Or certainly, I mean, my youngest is, the last time we attempted to get him on skis, he basically sat down in the snow and said no. So we'll see. we'll see if we have any more success this time. But anyway, that should be good. And I feel quite good about doing the whole thing on the train. I think that'll be an interesting experience. The TGV is a double-decker, I believe, which the kids are very excited about. And I'm quite excited about. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Sitting in the top deck on a train, whizzing through the wintry French countryside. I'm really looking forward to that. So I'll report back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing about that.
Likewise, I look forward to hearing about your retreat. Needless to say, I think very different kinds of experiences.
Yep, definitely.
I may need 5 days of meditation to recover from my half-term family holiday. But nevertheless, we will compare notes on the other side.
Yes. Great. Well, until then, friend, listener, thank you for keeping us company today. We hope that you have enjoyed another of our trademark failures. Keep listening. Keep enjoying the crossword. Keep enjoying the podcast. And if you do find a way to give a like and subscribe, that would be great. If you want to reach out to us, it's twoacrosspod@gmail.com or at twoacrosspod on the platform formerly known as Twitter. We will see you all in 2 weeks. Goodbye.